Good evening everyone and welcome to this first week of yoga classes since the restrictions began 3 months ago. It's so good to see you all here tonight and to get together again to practice our yoga. I do hope that you and your loved ones have been able to keep safe and that we'll be in this place for a little while to come still, I'm sure, and I hope you can continue to stay well. I should say that we do need to keep a register of people that are attending the class, so if you haven't already put your name down on the sheet on the table at the back of the room, if you could do that before you go this evening, please. We need to keep that 1.5 metre distancing, which I think you all have. But I will be putting markings on the floor. I just didn't bring the right tape measure with me this evening to do it, so I'll do that before the class next week. If you are feeling unwell at all, please don't come to yoga. It's best to just take those precautions and when you do feel well, come back again. So many of you have been practicing yoga for a little while now, and you recognise the many physical benefits that come from a class. We have improved practical strength, flexibility, balance and agility. But you also know that yoga gives us, or makes us feel more relaxed, and in doing so it helps to release the stress that we hold in our bodies. It helps us also to focus our mind, create a deeper connection with ourselves, provide a sense of purpose and clarity, and gives us greater awareness of the present moment. And as we start our journey in yoga, or continue our journey in yoga, we take from our practice perhaps different things. We might first begin to appreciate the flexibility and lightness that comes from a regular yoga practice, and perhaps in time you recognise more of an emotional balance, and perhaps even in time a deeper spiritual growth. Remember that when you come to your yoga, you're in control. There's no competition or comparisons in our class. Just practice at the level that's right for you. And if you don't want to do a pose, then come out into child's pose, which is a neutral pose in yoga where the toes are touching, the knees are apart, and we come down with the arms out in front. In this way, you're stretching through the ankles, the knees, the hips, the shoulders, the arms, and it's a neutral pose. Listen out for options, and if you are new, you'll appreciate the benefits right from your first class. Are there any questions before we start this evening? Alright, we'll begin by lying down on our mats in Savasana, which means you just lie on your back, let your feet fall away from the centre line of your body. You can relax the arms by the side, or if you prefer, you can place your hands on your belly. You might like to close your eyes. Just relax your legs. And we'll begin by just taking a few normal breaths in and out of the nose. Simply becoming aware of the breath. Prana, the life force. Just observing the breath, the natural rhythm of the breath. Breathing in calm and breathing out tension. This is your time. So try to let go of any thoughts and emotions. Just bring your awareness only to your breath. And now see if you can slow your breath and breathe deep into the belly. If you have your hands on your belly, you'll notice gentle rise and fall as you breathe deep into the abdomen. Notice as you slow your breath, your body begins to relax and your mind begins to quieten. And now gradually begin to increase the length of the exhalation. Breathing in, and as you exhale, extending the out breath. For many of us, we have a lot of stress in our lives. And when we feel stressed, our breathing pattern reflects the so-called fight or flight response. Our body thinks in order to survive, we need to tighten our muscles and get ready to run. We start taking shallow, rapid clavicular breaths. And we use our neck, shoulders and upper ribs rather than our diaphragm to move the air in and out of the lungs. And stress plays a role in almost every health problem we face. So in reducing our stress response, yoga helps alleviate or lessen most health issues. Now if you'd like to open your eyes please and come back into a seated position. And tonight we'll begin in child's pose, what I just showed you a moment ago. It's coming up onto the knees, bringing the toes together, knees are apart, and coming down onto the ankles and placing the arms out in front and getting the stretch through the hips, through the back, shoulders, palms flat on the mat, and inching the fingers forward as we work the tailbone down towards the ankles. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose or out through the mouth. And then with the next breath, coming back up onto the knees, keeping the hands where they are. Actually, you might bring the hands in slightly. Bring the knees in slightly. We're going to draw circles with our hips, coming forward over the hands, and then working the hips back down towards the ankles. So we're just working the hips, the knees, the wrists, in preparations for the class. Drawing wide circles, and then in the opposite direction. Coming forward, over the hands, stretching through the wrists and out to the sides. And then coming back into neutral position, placing the hands directly under the shoulders, knees hip width apart. You could just look up this way first. It's a variation of the cat-cow sequence before we do the cat-cow sequence. It's a stretch through the shoulder blades. And we do this by protracting and retracting between the shoulders. So to begin with, you breathe in, and as you exhale, keep the head where it is, keep the hips where they are, and then press up through the back. Only through the upper back, but your lower back also comes up. And retraction is you keep the hips where they are once more, and let the chest fall. So focus on the upper chest area. So you might like to try that. Begin in neutral position, pressing into the palms of the hands, breathing in. And as you exhale, just focus on the shoulder blades and see if you can press up through the shoulder blades and stretch through the upper back. And then as you exhale, release the chest. See if you can just focus on the chest, keep the hips and belly where they are, and sink down between the shoulder blades, getting that stretch between the shoulder blades. You might feel a squeeze between the shoulder blades as you bring the chest down. Breathing in, exhale as you come back up. Pressing up between the shoulder blades, breathing in. Then exhale, last one. See if you can squeeze the shoulder blades together. Bring the chest down, shoulders up. Now back to neutral. Now we'll come back to the pose you're familiar with, cat-cow sequence. This time breathing in, and as you exhale, pressing up into the palms of the hands and rounding the whole back up. The head comes down, breathing into the back of the rib cage. Feel the back of the rib cage expand. Then as you exhale, the belly comes down, the hips go up, the head comes up. Just working the hips slightly back so we can feel the stretch in the lower back. Breathing in, feel the front of the rib cage expand. And as you exhale, coming slightly forward, rounding the back up, pressing through the palms of the hands, straight arms, rounding the back up. Exhale, coming back down. Lifting up, just working the back through its horizontal plane. Doing two more in your own time. And then we'll come back into hands and knees position. This one we call spinal balancing. So we're going to lift the right arm and the left leg. Thumb is facing up, the toes are pointed. And see if you can draw the belly to the spine, so we're activating those deep transverse abdominal muscles. Strengthening the glutes, strengthening the core, strengthening the upper body. See if you can keep the back leg straight and we're pointing through the toes. Yoga helps teach us awareness, body awareness, mental awareness. So just remember, see if you can find where your leg is in relation to the floor. It should be parallel with the floor, not raising up. If this is too strong for you for any reason, you can place the hand back down on the mat and just keep the leg raised, or keep the arm up and bring both knees down onto the mat. Now placing the hand on the mat, the knee on the mat. Other side, left arm, right leg. Thumbs facing upwards, legs straight, hips and shoulders square to the floor. Lifting and reaching to the fingertips, remembering the option of placing either the hand or the knee on the floor. Drawing the belly to spine and breathing into the upper chest. Bringing the hand back down and the knee back down. Coming back to the other side, right arm, left leg. This time, as you exhale, bring the right elbow to the left knee. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, elbow, chin to knee. Slow, strong and controlled. Doing one more in your own time. Now you can hold in this position. If you'd like to take it further, you can bring the right hand behind, hooking onto the left ankle and working the ankle up towards the ceiling. You're feeling a twist through the back, feeling a stretch through the quads. Then release, knee, hand on mat. Other side, left arm, right leg. You can hold in this position. If you'd like to take it further, hooking onto the right ankle, working the right ankle up towards the ceiling. Holding for one more breath, and then bringing the knee down and the arm down. If you'd like to lie down on your belly, please. Do a stretch through the back. If you'd like to place the elbows directly underneath the shoulders, place the palms of the hands down onto the mat, and we're lengthening through the crown of the head. We're just working the elbows towards the hips and the hips towards the elbows. So we just feel a contraction in the back as we lift up through the crown of the head. Now you can hold this position. If you'd like to come a little deeper into the stretch, place the hands just behind the shoulders, palms flat on the mat, elbows tucked in, and pressing up maybe to halfway, or coming up into full up dog position, resting on the front of the feet. If you'd like to take the stretch a little deeper, you can come onto the knees and work the toes up towards the shoulders. And then release, coming back down onto our bellies. Pressing back up, coming into child's pose, release some of the tension in the lower back. Stretching out the contraction. Then coming back up onto the knees and having the feet hip width apart. Tucking the toes under, lifting up, downward facing dog. This is where our hands are shoulder width apart, our feet are hip width apart. We're keeping the back straight. The aim is to keep the spine straight. If need be, we can bend the knees to maintain the integrity of the length of the spine. See if we can keep the head down so it's a straight line from the head, neck, through to the tailbone. Now lifting up the right leg straight up into the sky. Keeping the shoulders and hips square to the front. Toes pull back. With the next breath, bending both knees, and the right foot comes through to the inside of the right hand. You may need to help that foot come forward. Just grab hold of the ankle and bring it well forward. keeping the knees lifted, thighs lifted and the hips down. Then release the knee and relax the foot. As you breathe in, both arms come overhead. And then as you exhale, sinking down into the hips and working the shoulders back. We're coming down into the hips and getting that stretch through the back. The next breath, coming back up and placing the hands into heart centre. We're working the left elbow. You might need to bring that front foot in so we have a little bit more stability in the pose. We're working the left elbow across the right thigh. We're aiming to have a straight line from the elbows through the hands, right up to the right elbow. With the next breath, coming back, placing the hands on the mat, the right leg comes back, and the left leg, actually placing both hands down on the floor, tucking the toes in, lifting up, downward facing dog. Palms flat on the mat, straight line from wrists, elbows, shoulders, right up to the hips. And see if you can get the length from the crown of the head to the point between the hands on the floor. This time lifting up the left leg, straight up into the sky, keeping the shoulders square to the front, toes pulled back, straight leg, upper body strength, opening up through the hips. Now bending both knees, and we're working the left foot through to the inside of the left hand. Just take a moment to bring the foot well forward and see if we can keep the right knee lifted, the right thigh lifted, working the hips down, stretching through the hips. Now release the knee, relax the foot. Breathing in, both arms out in front. And as you exhale, sinking into the hips, shoulders back. Keeping the arms straight. With the next breath, coming back up and placing the hands into heart centre. This time we're bringing the right elbow across, looking over your left shoulder. So we're getting a length in the spine and a slight rotation. Next breath, coming back through the centre, placing the hands on the mat as we bring the left knee onto the mat. And if we could come up into a kneeling position, please. And we'll support ourselves by coming up onto the balls of the feet and placing the hands into the arch of the lower back. If you have any neck issues, keep the chin forward. Otherwise, gentle pressure in the lower back as you bring the head back and stretch through the front of the torso, front of the thighs, hip flexors, shoulders as you work the elbows back. If you'd like to take this a little further, you can work the hands down to the ankles and keeping the hips well forward, opening up through the chest. Holding here for 3 more breaths. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose and out through the mouth. Then bring the chin to the chest as we come back up. We come back down onto our ankles. Just show you how we do this next pose. So you might like to bring your feet just a little bit wider apart. Placing the hands on the mat, just behind the feet. I'll show you how we're going to do this first. And then again, if you've got any neck issues, keep the chin forward. Otherwise you can bring the head back and lift up through the hips and open up through the shoulders, and again once more through the front of the torso. To come out, you bring the chin to the chest, tailbone to ankles, and coming back up. So if you'd like to give that a go, place the hands back, fingers facing forwards, palms flat on the mat, then working, relaxing the head back, bringing the hips up and open up. We'll hold here for 4 more breaths. Come out of the pose, bring the chin to the chest, work the tailbone back down towards the ankles as we come back down. Finishing off this sequence in child's pose by placing the arms out in front, knees apart so we can come a little bit deeper into the stretch. And from here we'll bring the left arm in, place it underneath the right armpit and work the arm through. So we're resting the shoulder, the arm and the side of the face on the mat. The next breath, bring the arm through once more, placing it out in front. The other side, right arm underneath the left armpit. Holding for 2 more breaths. With the next breath, coming back through the centre, either placing both arms out in front or bring the arms parallel with the shins. Resting by the side, resting the forehead on the mat. With the next breath, placing the hands next to the shoulders as we come back up. If you'd like to come back into a standing position, please. We'll try a balance pose, which is tree pose, classical yoga pose. Helps balance both body and mind. So we'll bring the feet together and place the hands into heart centre. And to help with your balance poses, it sometimes helps to focus a point in front of you on the floor or at eye level behind me. And bending the right knee and turning the knee out to the side. And you can keep the toes here on the mat if you wish. or else you can place the foot on the calf or on the inner thigh. Try to avoid placing the foot on the knee. Then as you breathe in, bringing both arms overhead. The elbows are back. We'll hold here for 3 more breaths. Try to keep the knee out to the side as we open up through the hips. Then bringing the hands back into heart centre, the knee in front as you step down. Other side, transferring the weight onto the right leg, bending the left knee and turning the knee out to the side. Once again, working at the same point as we were before, either toes on the floor, placing the foot on the calf, or placing the foot on the inner thigh. Once you've found your balance, your wristy, bringing the arms overhead, elbows back, balancing right side, left side, front and back, mind and body. Then bringing the hands back into heart centre as we bring the knee in front and step down. We'll do some stretches now to open up through the hips. So if you'd like to come to the front of the mat, please. And placing the hands into heart centre. As you breathe in, relax the arms, bring the hands up, fingertips touching. And as you exhale, swan dive into a forward fold. Bending at the hips, if need be, bending at the knees. Just relax the head down for a moment so there's no wrinkles on the back of the neck. With the next breath, bringing the left leg back deep. Left leg back. Then bringing the knee down onto the mat and relax the foot. We're going to have a stretch through the hip flexors and through the quads. So placing the hands on the right knee or right thigh, working the shoulders back. And then just see if you can drag the left knee to the point that it's just about coming off the mat. So just dragging that knee forward, and you should feel the stretch in the front of the thigh and through the hip flexors as we work the shoulders back. Just dragging that knee just to the point where it's about to come off the floor or move off the floor. And then placing both hands back down onto the mat. Bringing the right knee back and the left foot forward. So see if you can bring that right knee back as far as we can. If we have the knee up here, like this, we're not going to be able to stretch. So we need to come down deep into the hips. So we'll begin by having that deep stretch, then placing the hands on the thighs, front thigh, and then working the shoulders back. And then see if you can drag, this time the right knee. And see, bringing your awareness to the thighs, to the hip flexors, getting that stretch deep into the hips. And then with the next breath, placing both hands back down onto the mat. If you'd like to come to a seated position, please. We're going to come do some stretches, further stretches in the hips. We'll do the conventional pigeon pose for those who are familiar with it. For those who haven't done yoga before, you might like to lie down on your backs and place the left foot over the right knee, interlocking the hands underneath the thigh or on the outside of the knee, and work the knee into the chest. Otherwise, we'll have the right knee in front and then bringing the left leg behind and rolling over onto your left thigh. So if you've done pigeon pose before, or if you'd like to try it, feel free to do it. Begin with the right knee in front. We're aiming to get the blade of the right foot onto the floor rather than the front of the foot, because otherwise we're just going to be bending through the knee. We're trying to get the stretch deep into the glutes and opening up through the hips. Breathing tall. Then as you exhale, coming over the bent knee, either placing the arms out in front and getting the stretch into the right thigh, into the glutes, into the hips. Or else you can place the palms of the hands on the mat and rest your forehead on the back of the hands. I should say that yoga is not about being super flexible. It's more the fact that we're stretching all the muscles, all the joints, and allowing fresh oxygenated blood coming to all the muscles, ligaments, tendons, joints. Now placing the hands next to the shoulders, you press back up. If you're lying on the mat, if you'd like to place the opposite foot over the opposite knee, we'll have the left leg in front coming onto the right thigh. I should say, if you're in pigeon pose and you feel any pain in the knee, please come out of the pose. We shouldn't be getting a twisting pain in the knee. Breathing tall, feeling the stretch through the back. Then as you exhale, coming over the bent knee, arms out in front. And all you need to do is just relax here and let gravity do its work. Next breath, placing the hands next to the shoulders as we come back up. If everybody could have their left knee in front, please, and their right knee out to the side. Then we'll bring the right foot over, placing it on the outside of the left thigh. Can't quite get there, you might find that if you straighten the left leg, that might be a little easier for you. It's important that we have both sit bones on the floor to be able to support the spine. Then bringing the left elbow across, the right hand, palm facing down, the back behind you, keeping your chin lifted for correct spinal alignment. Breathing tall, and then as you exhale, looking over the right shoulder. Keeping the length in the spine and the rotation. With the next breath, coming back through the centre, and just de-rotation over the left shoulder and coming back through the centre. Other side, placing the right knee down, the left foot over the side. Again, you've got the option of straightening up the right leg and working the right elbow over left hand behind, pressing into the palm of the left hand as we reach tall. And as you exhale, looking over the left shoulder. Next breath, coming back through the centre. Now releasing the left leg, bringing it out to the side. So we've got the right knee in front. Placing the right hand on the outside of the right thigh. As we breathe in, we're coming up onto the knees and swinging the left arm through. Just opening up through the left shoulder. So we're bringing the left shoulder way out to the side and looking at the inside of the palm of the left hand as we lift and reach from the waist right up through the fingertips. Pressing the left hip forwards. Stretching out all the tension we're holding in our bodies. Physical, mental and emotional tension. And with the next breath, coming back down. Swinging the legs across to the other side. So we've got the left knee in front, the right knee out to the side. The left hand on the mat. And if you're finding it difficult to get on the knees, then you just stay in the seated position and work the arm up. Otherwise, rolling up onto the knees and swinging and bringing the right arm back, opening up through the chest and shoulders, looking at the inside of the palm of the right hand as you lift and reach up to the ceiling in a full-bodied stretch. Next breath, coming back down. Do some work now to strengthen the core. I'll show you a sequence, but there's steps to the sequence if you don't want to do it the way that I'm doing it. So first level is placing the hands forward, placing the hands on the mat, and then we're going to be lifting up through the hips. If we're aiming, lift the hips up and work the neck back. And you might only get to here tonight, but over time you'll get the strength in the core and the flexibility in the shoulders to come up into this position. Whichever level you're coming up to tonight, and then we're going to come back and see if we can keep the lift in the out of the floor. So exhaling, lifting up, and holding. And then we're coming back down and see if we can keep the strength in the core as we come back down. If you'd like to give that a go, so placing the hands, I think, straight down alongside the tailbone, alongside the shoulders, keeping the legs out in front, and then you might need to make adjustments depending on size of the legs, size of the arms, size of the body. As you exhale, coming up onto the feet. Then see if we can lift up a little higher and see if we can open up through the shoulders and through the hips, lifting up. And as we come back down, swinging through, see if we can keep the strength in the core as we lift up. Strength in the wrists. Up, exhale. And then slowly coming back down. Last one. Yep. And exhale, coming back up. And coming down to if you'd like to lie down on your mat, well done. It's a strong pose, strong sequence. Bending the knees, bringing the feet in close. See if you can touch the heels of your feet with your fingertips. Relax the shoulders on the mat. We're coming into bridge pose. We've got a couple of options here for you tonight. We'll begin with putting the pressure into the shoulder blades as you breathe in and lift up, keeping the knees hip-width apart. So there's a straight line from the knees, hips, to the shoulders. If you like, you can shrug the shoulders under and clasp the hands behind, keeping the hips raised. Now this is where you might hold for tonight. If you'd like to take it a little further, you can bend the right knee into the chest and straighten the right leg. Bending the knee, placing the foot on the mat. Bringing the left knee in and straightening the left leg. Bending the knee and placing the foot onto the mat. Release the hands, release the shoulder blades, and slowly working the back down, very consciously back down onto the mat. If you just like to keep the knees bent and walk the feet out to the side of the mat. Now let both knees fall across to the left side. Bring your right arm out to the side, looking over your right shoulder. You might like to place the left foot over the right knee to deepen the stretch in the hips. And see if you can relax. Really relax through the torso. And release the foot, place the foot on the outside of the mat. As you bring your right arm back in, just bring the heels in a little closer again. Now let both knees fall across to the right side. The left arm goes out. You might like to place the right foot over the left knee. Then release the foot, placing both feet on the mat as you bring both knees back through the centre. Bringing the left arm in, keeping the knees bent, bringing the feet and the knees together. Now let both knees fall away from the centre line of the body. You might like to place your hands on the inside of the thighs for an abductor stretch. You might also like to close your eyes and breathe deep into the belly in this restorative pose. Three more breaths. With the next breath, bring the knees back up. If you'd like to turn over onto your right hand side, please. With your left hand, pressing back up. And if you'd like to lie on your bellies, please, and face this way, use some strength. Do work now to strengthen through the back. We'll begin with both arms out in front. Resting the forehead on the mat, keeping the forehead on the mat. See if you can lift both arms off the floor, keeping the arms straight. So here we're stretching through the shoulders as well as strengthening the upper body. Pressing through the fingertips, pressing through the toes. And then bring the arms back down. This time, with the thighs firmly anchored on the mat, breathing in and lifting the arms, the head, the shoulders off the floor. If this is too strong for you, you can bring the arms by the side, lifting the chest and shoulders off the mat. And bringing the arms back down. Placing the hands underneath the shoulders as we press up, toes touching, knees apart, coming down with the child's pose. The next breath, coming back up onto the knees. And then bringing the right knee through, the left knee through, crossing over at the ankles, coming into a seated position. We'll finish off with some hamstring stretches. So I'll have the legs out in front, please. Toes pulled back. Palms of the hands on the floor. Fingers facing forwards, pressing into the palms of the hands, and see if we can get that back nice and straight, perpendicular with the floor. Pressing into the palms of the hands, toes pulled back, feeling the stretch through the hamstrings, through the calves. Breathing in, the arms out to the side, lifting tall. Then as you exhale, bringing the torso forward, see if you can keep the arms raised. Then at the last moment, work the hands down onto the shins or onto the outside of the feet. And let's gently work the stretch. If you can't quite reach your toes, keep the toes pulled back. See if we can keep it back nice and straight as we keep the stretch deep into the hamstrings. Next breath, coming back up. We'll have the right leg in front and the left leg turned in. And then bringing the left hand on the outside of the right leg, or if you can, onto the outside of the foot. Placing the right hand on the mat for support, and just gently working the head down towards the knee. Again, if you can't quite reach the foot, then just hold onto the outside of the leg. Next breath, coming back up, other side. Just squaring the hips to the front. Right hand on the outside of the leg, or if you can, on the outside of the foot. Once again, just very gently working the head down towards, or the chest down towards the knee. With the next breath, coming back up, bringing the legs back in, just sitting cross-legged for a moment, or if you prefer, just having the ankles in front of each other, straight spine. We now come to the meditation, the relaxation part of the class. I'll be switching the heating off, I'll be switching the lights off. You can either stay in a seated position if you want to be supported by bolsters. I've got some bolsters here. You might like to put a blanket over it or your own jacket or anything. Or you can lie down on your mat. The meditation will go for about 15 minutes and we'll be finishing off with a chime at the end of the class. So I'll give you a few moments to get yourself comfortable and get yourself organised. You might like to put something a little warmer on because your body tends to cool off fairly quickly once we stop moving. So this is your time. Time to unwind. Time to relax. You might like to move your head slightly from side to side to make sure that the neck is aligned with the rest of the spine. And if you're lying on the mat, just relax the arms by the side. The elbows are soft. Palms facing up. And let your fingers have their natural curl. We'll begin by connecting with our breath like we did at the start of the class. Just noticing the breath that comes in and out of the body. Slow breath in. And see if you can extend the out breath just a little bit further. So as we begin our meditation, I'd like to share with you a short extract about being calm and centered to reduce the impact of stress in our lives. The nervous system doesn't know the difference between our thoughts and reality. So if we are disturbed by certain thoughts, our bodies respond as if something is threatening us physically, activating our nerves to carry information and impulses that pump adrenaline through our bodies and exhaust our energy. Although this uncomfortable state of being may seem an inevitable result of our fast-paced, stressed-out lives, it is not a natural way to live. If we can remain calm and centered, we can train our minds to replace fear with positive, uplifting thoughts. As the intelligent nervous system processes this new information, it will send a message of life energy to all our cells, and nervous tension will give way to a sense of joy and peace. So I invite you now to listen to the verbal cues as I give them for a short guided meditation. Or if you prefer, you can just relax in your own space. Sinking deeper and deeper into your mat. Just have your lips slightly touching. You release the jaw. The eyes are soft. Relax the brain. And feel the whole head, face and neck completely relax. The shoulders, the arms, the hands, heavy, heavy and relaxed. The whole back of the torso, the spine, relaxed. The whole front of the torso, chest, the abdominal organs, completely relaxed. The buttocks, hips, pelvis, soft, soft and relaxed. Legs, feet, heavy, heavy and relaxed. Feel your whole body completely relaxed. Now bring your awareness to the nostrils, to where the air flows in and out. Follow the natural airflow in and out of the nose, feeling the gentle rise and fall of the chest. You might notice slightly cooler air passing through the tips of the nose on the inhale, and slightly warmer air as you exhale. And now become aware of all the different sounds that you can hear around you. inside and outside. Moving from one sound to the next. Now become aware of your whole body just lying on the mat, feeling completely relaxed, taking slow breaths. Let your whole body and mind surrender to the stillness. Stay with the breath. Stay with the stillness. Be still. Be you. Just be.